Joseph,
Wayne,
how you doing, man?
long time no see.
Yeah, it was early this morning.
That's right. That's right.
We wrapped up our Summerslam post show.
Well,
How you doing today?
Good. Real happy with tonight's ending, and not only did it end at a reasonable hour, but it was a great show, and we have lots of great stuff to talk about today.
For sure. Joe, you ready to get the show started?
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do this. Good evening.
What's up?
Joey, thank you so much for hopping on. This is your second night in a row. We had a very late night last night. SummerSlam went till 12 o'clock at night. Technical difficulties and everything, but we still got the show underway. We got done at 1:40, almost 1:45 this morning. Man, let me tell you, I slept in this morning. Good thing they scheduled church last night to beat the storm, because I would have had trouble getting up this morning, let me tell you. But yeah, I woke up with a headache, congestion and stuff, but we're pushing through, man. We were one of the busiest podcasts out there, period. Both WrestleMania weekend and SummerSlam. This is our third night in a row. So thank you so much, Joe, for making this happen. But
thank you so much.
Yeah,
thanks so much for having me. You know, it's always a blast cutting it up here, you know, giving reactions to the shows, you know. And so, like, yeah, man, NXT Takeover 35. Where did it take place? I didn't understand exactly the location. CWC, what is that?
Okay, so the CWC, if I'm not mistaken, is Full Sail.
Oh, okay. They gave it like a name.
Yeah, they gave it the name because they wanted to kind of give it a little bit of an edgy look to it, with like the glass and the cage and stuff. And Capital Wrestling Center is their nickname. So if I'm not mistaken, it's the same building as CW as Full Sail or the Performance Center. But actually, you know what? I think it's Performance Center.
I think they're on the same campus. The Performance Center is like its own facility.
Yeah,
and
but very close to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You know, can I tell a really quick story of me and my history with this freaking Full Sail University? So as a profession, I'm a teacher, right? And so my very first year teaching, I was teaching this class, 7th graders, and we did this unit on like getting to know colleges and stuff, right? And just getting to know the college process and whatnot, and just and one of these kids comes up to me and says, "Hey, I want to be in graphic design and video game design, and I really want to go to this school, Full Sail University." And at the time, I had never heard of it, and I looked it up, and it's not on College Board or whatever, you know. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like a legit school. And then like later on that year, this is like 2013, 2014, yeah. So right around the time of the network and NXT being like really accessible. Finally realizing that Full Sail University is the place where NXT is, and it's this legit school, and it's doing like legit stuff, you know. And so I learned a valuable lesson of actually, like, you know, giving my students a chance, you know. And here we are, the CWC.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, NXT is about to go through a revamp. I'm not too sure if that's going to mean different location, but they're going through a major revamp that was made quite clear by Nick Khan, who's currently the Chief Revenue Officer, if I said that right, for the WWE. And NXT is going to be going through a lot of changes. He didn't go through specifics. There's a lot of things planned, which he also didn't go into detail right now. He didn't want to kind of get ahead of himself. Great interview. I posted it in the WWE and AEW fans group, and also it's on YouTube. But great interview. It basically, I got the vibe that I got from it is that they want to make NXT more back into a training ground for WWE, and they want to make it more like WWE in-ring style, which, in my opinion, is going to lose some of the indie fans that clamor for that indie style type of wrestling, and I think that's just going to, bring more fans over to AEW. So I'm not a fan of where this is going. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Triple H is going to be in charge of everything NXT still. But they're going to be going through a revamp, and they made it clear to you before when they went off the air tonight that this is a new era. For NXT, they're entering a new era now. So a lot of things are going to change as far as the look and feel of the show. So we got to see what's going to happen there. I'm a little concerned. But let's jump right into it. Cameron Grimes defeats LA Knight. He is the new $1 million champion. How did you feel about this match tonight?
So I know both of these guys from back when they're Impact Wrestling days, right? And so I have to say first off that these guys have come such a long way. I thought the match was good. I thought both guys were pretty physical and honestly, regardless of storytelling, the in-ring performance, with them together, you could tell the chemistry was there. And I really did appreciate that for both of them. In terms of the storytelling, it's really gimmicky, but I really liked it. I like the storyline, and for me, growing up, Ted DiBiase was one of an iconic figure that I can just picture. It was someone who really left an impression on me when I was really little. That dude who just has lots of money and buys people and stuff. That sounds really bad now, but I mean, you just say Ted DiBiase and people know, right? And so seeing him was kind of cool. The only hang up from this match that I need to come to the reality of facing, I guess, is that the $1 Million Dream is not a great finisher. I guess that's okay. I guess in my opinion, I was just not convinced. Trying to get the hold, that was kind of cool, but when it was all said and done.
What's funny? That's kind of we'll get to this in a moment with Walter Dragunov, but that's how the Walter Dragunov match kind of ended with the stand-up sleeper hold. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. But
I know. I mean, a sleeper hold, almost like a rear naked choke, is kind of different from holding the guy's arm like this and then having him sell. I mean, hey, that's awesome. But regardless, it's an iconic finisher. And it's just paying homage to Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man.
For sure, I'm interested to see where they go with this. I mean, LA Knight's got a lot of potential to be a big player. Yeah. We've seen it. He's got great talking skills. He can work decent in the ring too. So let's see where they go. Maybe LA Knight will pursue the next thing, like a North American champion or NXT title. We could definitely see that. Cameron Grimes is gonna proceed with his $1 million gimmick. He actually won money in real life. He had stock in GameStop, and that's how he came up with this gimmick, to the moon. This really so happened.
Entertaining to watch. I love that. That call up, the to the moon, and then he hits him. That's awesome.
It was he's great. He's just absolutely great. Good in-ring work tonight between the two of them for sure.
And I have to also say it's the opening match, but overall, quality wrestling, quality in-ring work. which was obviously from yesterday when we were talking about like some of the matches. It was just like, I wish they could just do more. You know what I mean? And so like overall tonight, great in-ring work all around.
Listen, with Vince being around on the WWE roster, it's the WWE main roster is going to have that style. And I don't know how long we're going to have this NXT in-ring style, but I don't think it's going to be long. They want to bring up new names. They want to mold people to the WWE in-ring style. And, that's that. To get your fix now, you're going to have to watch AEW soon.
Yeah. Mean, it's just, you have such talented people, you know what I mean? Like, and like, it should almost be the reverse. It should almost be like, yeah, sure, NXT is your training ground, but what you're going to be training in is all of these global styles of wrestling. Like, I know we're going to get to it in just a few minutes or like later on, but like the UK match was so awesome. And it's just like it's that brutal, like gritty style and that UK style, like no pads, just going at it. Like that was so cool. And, and I'm like, fight forever indeed. Like, this is awesome indeed. Like, this is like incredible. And so like you take that and that becomes like, sure, NXT is your training ground, then learn from the UK guys and get like, or like learn from the whomever, and learn that style and learn that crap, learn that indie style, and then take that to the main roster when you get called up. And that's what like you're putting out in front of fans. Why? Because the fans will appreciate it. It was a well-rounded show overall. There was a gimmicky match. There was this gritty UK match. You had your stipulations, your hardcore stuff, and then great storytelling followed by like, and ending with a masterclass of just overall great in-ring work. I mean, this is just a well-rounded pay-per-view. It's almost like it belonged on the Sunday night, main event of the pay-per-view weekend, and so sorry, man, I didn't mean to.
No, absolutely, I 100% agree. I mean, this is an easier show to watch than SummerSlam, to be honest with you. We had the NXT Women's Title, Dakota Kai challenging Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Title, and I think this was the right move here, but I feel like there's going to be a rematch down the road. I couldn't tell you when, but I would say probably within the next month or two between these two ladies. Raquel Gonzalez retains with the win over Kai with that power slam, or should I say side choke slam from the middle rope. She gets the win there. Raquel Gonzalez retains. I felt like, Raquel Gonzalez only had this title for about 4 months now, so I'm not really ready to see that belt come off of her. Dakota Kai has been knocking on this door for a little while now.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's due. I would think that the second time that they face would probably be where that title is going to change, whenever that may be. Well, what did you think of Dakota Kai's hair, by the way?
It's distracting, and it was hard to see her. Like, it's interesting because like you think of what wrestling looked like a few, like I guess, I don't know, decades ago. Like, you don't see like their faces so up close and like such high quality, but like it does make a difference today where her face, I get it, the middle part, that's like in these days, and you can do whatever, like whatever hair style you want, but like there's a reason why girls who are skateboarders often wear like headbands and hats, right? So you can see the face, so they can see where they're going, right? And so it just makes sense. I don't know. I didn't mean to carry on so much about the hair.
What did you think? What did you think of their in-ring work tonight?
Yeah, good. I think, I mean, as expected from both of them. I really like Raquel Gonzalez because, like, for the women's division, she's that big giant, right? She's the muscle. She's the powerhouse, right? And so to see her be able to just really own that with those big boots, like really convincing big boots, and just being able to, and, also she's got a great in-ring dance partner in Dakota Kai, being able to like really like fly around and be thrown like a rag doll, And so, yeah, in ring, great. I really liked also the storytelling here was great too, because it's like that, almost like the character tropes now, right? Like of that main person and their muscle, and then all of a sudden the muscle gets a little bit more heat, and gets a little bit bigger of a push. We saw that with Diesel, right? Diesel HBK. Diesel's first title win, actually the only title win, was in 1994. HBK didn't get it till 2 years later in '96, right? And so, like, I like that they're sticking with, that Raquel Gonzalez retained. Dakota Kai in the future definitely could still continue chasing, but we get that surprise debut, or I don't know if this is the date. I feel like Kaylee Ray's been on.
Oh, she's a big fixture of NXT UK.
Right. But I feel like I've seen her
She's probably been maybe wrestled a match or two.
Maybe one of
but
the
not
tournaments?
a recent. It could have been definitely CWC.
Okay.
The women's tournament that they had a couple of years ago. No, that would be Cruiserweight Classics. No, I'm sorry. But one of those women's tournaments. Yeah, Mae Young Classic. So one of those.
Perhaps one of those.
But
anyway,
primarily NXT UK.
Yeah, I'm familiar with her long title reign, right? In the NXT
She's great.
UK. Right. Yeah. I think she took the belt off of Toni Storm. Am I right?
She did.
Right. Okay. Cool. So yeah. So it's a big name coming over. Good. It was a pretty decent pop for a small crowd, I'd say. Right. And I think that it would be a cool, new challenger for Raquel Gonzalez, who I think has obviously established that she can mix it up with anyone who's there. That's there right now. And so, if anyone had any questions like, "Oh, who is she going to face next?" Well, here we go. Right, it's a cool program to get into.
That is going to be the Kaylee Ray is definitely going to be the next challenger for sure. But I would believe that in a couple months they got to revisit Raquel versus Dakota. I think there's more of a story to be told there. And like I said, I think Dakota. I feel like Dakota's next. She's been knocking on that door for a while. But Kylie Ray is good. That could thwart the fantasy booking of the possibility of having Dakota Kai win. They may very well have a plan for Kaylee Ray to take that belt off of Raquel Gonzalez, and Raquel goes to the main roster. So that could very well be. Yeah. Dave says that Kylie Ray is the longest women's champion for the NXT UK. That's absolutely correct. Moving on. Speaking of longest NXT UK title runs, we had Walter defending against Ilya Dragunov, and going into tonight, Walter holding the title for 870 days. I was at that NXT Takeover Brooklyn when Walter defeated Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne himself had a long reign of about a good 1 to 2, almost 2 years. This reign for Walter about 2.5 years. Do you really want to count most of 2020? I mean, NXT UK was kind of shut down for about a good 6 to 8 months there. So if you really want to be technical about it, Walter has been defending that belt for like just under 2 years now. But again, I digress. He's had that belt for 2.5 years now. And what a run. Yeah, that was a brutal match between Walter and Dragunov. Facebook user. I can't see who made that comment right now, but thank you so much. Yeah, brutal match. I mean, the chops that Walter gave to Ilya Dragunov, brutal, very stiff. What did you think of this match? What are your favorite takeaways out of this?
Oh my gosh, yeah, obviously the chops, just the overall, just like really just putting your bodies out there and just getting it done, Ilya Dragunov, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure like he's a big guy too, but like Walter, he's a big dude, and those hands. Oh, the one that got him on the collarbone, that one was like real brutal to watch. Oh my gosh, yeah, and I kind of touched on it earlier, but like this style of wrestling, like it's like something that like I don't really watch NXT UK, unfortunately. You know, I obviously after watching this, obviously it's more appealing to want to try to get into it, which I think is obviously the overall one of like the underlying
It's on.
goals.
It's on at a weird time of the day, at 3:00 on a Thursday. When
okay.
in London time it airs at 8 p.m., but over here it airs at 3:00. So it's kind of hard to catch that show.
I catch a lot of highlights on Instagram and YouTube.
That's one of the reasons why we don't talk much about it.
Right, but like obviously like Walter Dragunov won. They recently posted a story of like other wrestlers, other superstars watching their first match together, and even HBK was like, this might be like one of the best matches of all time. It was and like just watching the highlights from that match, it's like, how are you going to measure up to such a match? And then this was like the most logical and best and masterpiece of a sequel to that match, I think. And hats off to both of these men, and great match. Fight forever indeed.
For sure, and I feel like they were given the right amount of time. There were some false finishes here where, Walter doing that frog splash off the top rope. That normally is his finisher right there. And I thought the match was going to be over there.
Right.
And good false finisher there. Dragunov kicked out, and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it was a great match. I feel like it was a good, solid 20 minutes. It was nonstop. There was nothing boring about that match.
The pacing, that's what I got.
And I felt like it was suspenseful too. It was very suspenseful when Walter had him in had his back in the chokehold. I thought Ilya was going to go out.
I thought that was it. Yeah. A great match, definitely.
Absolutely match. I mean, the pacing of this pay-per-view is very good. I do have one little qualm about it, which we're going to talk about next, is the Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole 3. So a couple things here, Joe. We were going back and forth. You were thinking about 45 to 60. Which very well could have been so with all the stipulations, but then I'm looking at the clock, and typically the NXT likes to end their shows and keep it around 2.5 hours. And we were kind of cutting it close. It would have been kind of really close. If that would have went 45 to 60, you would have only been given showtime of like Samoa. So I knew it was going to go. I didn't think it was going to go that long. I was thinking more 30 minutes, and ended up going 27. Now, what I did like about the match is they gave extra time towards the steel cage and the street fight. But what caught me by surprise, and this would never happen in a straight up one-on-one match between these two, but what caught me by surprise is Kyle O'Reilly gets his first pinfall within 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow.
As soon as that happened, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Wayne's right. Yeah, definitely not 45 minutes.
And then 14 minutes later, we see Cole get the second. We get to see Cole get the second fall there. O'Reilly got backdropped on top of those chairs, which were back to back, and he landed right on the very top brim of the chairs. And that was followed by a knee to the back of the head by Adam Cole. And Cole gets the second fall there, and tying up the match 1-1. Then it goes, so that was 14-minute interaction there. Then it goes into the third stage of this best of 2 out of 3 with the steel cage. You see Adam Cole unrelenting, still beating up Kyle O'Reilly before they even start the third part of the match on the outside. So now at this point, we're at about the 18-minute mark of the match. So you figure about another 9 minutes or so was dedicated to the steel cage match, with Kyle O'Reilly getting the win. Now, I felt like the ending fell flat. I'm going to ask you about this, your opinion on it. But I felt like the ending fell a little flat. With Kyle O'Reilly handcuffed to the ropes, and you would think that like this is it, like Kyle O'Reilly's done. So I wasn't expecting the finish to go the way it did, but then we see Kyle O'Reilly with one arm basically catch Adam Cole in the submission hold, and that's how the match ends. Ending kind of fell a little flat to me. So those of you guys that are watching, I want to hear what you guys think. What did you guys think of the ending? But it kind of fell flat to me. The fans did not like this either. With mixed reactions, mostly boos, mostly more boos. So what were your thoughts on this?
BS chants. There was a lot of BS chants.
Yep.
I heard. So I have my thoughts on it. Here's the thing. When I say that I'm a casual NXT viewer or audience viewer, whatever. I love Undisputed Era, right? And great, bless you. Great, stable, iconic group. Dripped in gold was awesome, right? And this was supposed to be, I think, the finale, right? This was the Return of the Jedi, right? And so, if we're gonna look at it like that, this is the very, very bookend. A lot of people like Empire Strikes Back more than they like Return of the Jedi, but it was still a really good ending, right? And so, if we think that this is the end of this story, this saga, this Undisputed Era, then I think it was the ending that they needed, with Kyle O'Reilly going over. I imagine, and it makes most sense if we're gonna think about a universe in which there's still this notion of call-ups meaning something, right? Then obviously, I think the trajectory would be for Adam Cole to be called up finally, mix it up with the main roster, right? Kyle O'Reilly to maybe chase the belt, in our new era for NXT, right? And so for Kyle O'Reilly to get the rub now, I think is kind of cool. But in terms of the ending falling flat, if you think about the figure four, right? Ric Flair figure four, the times where they grab the ropes, to try to get extra leverage, I guess, I think that, right? I think, I'm thinking of that and thinking, okay, well, Adam Cole, it created this and it's kind of working against him now. I think, and I'm really grasping at straws and trying to justify why that could have been the ending. You know what I mean? Also trying to, sell the fact that Kyle O'Reilly is this MMA submission specialist, right?
Yeah.
And so
here's the thing with Cole. Somebody commented, probably the most disappointing match out of O'Reilly Cole. Expected more, but the finish was a little flat. Yeah, cool. We're on the same page. And we had a comment by Dave. Adam Cole is AEW. So here's the thing: we don't know if he's AEW yet. It's very well probable. Here's the thing with AEW. They got a lot of great talent, but the key word is they have a lot. There's a lot of names on that roster. They're picking up some good names, but with that, they're going to need to trim the fat somewhere because there is going to be talent getting lost in the shuffle. And I know you got 2 hours of Dynamite. There's no need to make a third hour, but 2 hours of Dynamite. Then you got 1 hour of Rampage, and you got Dark, Elevation Dark, and this and that. And AEW is putting a lot of content out, too much that I can really keep up with, to be honest. I'll be honest with everybody. But Dynamite I always make sure I stay on top of, and now Rampage. So yeah, they're going to need to trim the fat somewhere. There is a lot of guys that are a possibility that are going to go there. Bray Wyatt was just at the show. I believe Rampage. Bray Wyatt was there, and allegedly, according to Dave Meltzer, he's probably AEW too. I mean, AEW is just picking up all these guys, and it's a lot. It's a lot to take in a short amount of time. And you got Daniel Bryan waiting in the wings in September, supposedly showing up at Arthur Ashe. And then now we had Punk this weekend, which is the biggest pop of the lifetime I've ever heard. other than maybe being at Madison Square Garden live for Austin. But yeah, it's just a lot. And then now Adam Cole's quite possibly, it makes sense for Cole to be there. He's got a lot of names that he's familiar with. He's got a lot of friends there. His girlfriend's there. They could be together and travel together. It probably, lifestyle wise, it probably works a lot better for them, to be honest. But again, we don't know officially if Adam Cole is AEW. He did take the loss tonight, so if he does go out this way, he went out the right way. But he did take the loss tonight. There was no standing ovation or anything like that. Maybe off camera when they went behind the scenes or to the next video package. But there was so there's no standing ovation that I was probably looking for.
How cool would it have been if there was a curtain call that we didn't even know about, right?
There could have been in between segments.
Bobby Fish get Roddy Strong out there, curtain call in the cage. Like, that's what I was thinking. When the cage flaps came down, which I thought was also weird. It was the first time I saw the cage flaps go down like that. As soon as I saw that, I'm thinking, oh, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was a curtain call? Get them all in the cage, and, like, oh, Bobby Fish. Oh, wow, he just got released,
Yeah, oh, my goodness. So Dave, to answer your statement, he's not officially AEW. We think he's headed that way. WWE is probably still trying to get him an offer, but there's got to be some kind of like Adam Cole's got to be able to have some good money. It's got to be good creative, and just a lot of stuff.
Regardless of where he ends up, I just don't. I'm a big Adam Cole fan. Regardless of where he ends up, I just don't want him to get lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean? He's a great talent, and I think he's a main eventer in my opinion. I mean, you have like the comparisons to HBK. You have like his mic skills. You have his in-ring work. If he can put on great matches, and I'm gonna get into this again when we talk about Karrion Kross, but if you have a guy who can have great matches with so many different people, like almost like an inability to have a bad match, like use him and like that's your guy. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean use him like as a dehumanizing way. I'm just mean like push him. Like this is your guy. Like give him what he needs.
For sure.
But it's not always the case. And so like where I mean it's not always the case in the world of WWE, right? And now we have AEW that hopefully potentially is giving people that chance and that platform and that time and those pushes that they need, right? And so like I get it, like it's the new game in town, you know what I mean? Like what I think Adam Cole's going to be a big fish in any pond that he goes in. So
for sure, and I'm concerned about guys like Hangman that might get lost in the shuffle, even though the story writes itself that Hangman should be. But he should have been the challenger All Out in AEW in 2 weeks. But Christian got signed and slid right in, and just for the name factor, AEW went with that. Where they go, and Christian's not winning the title at All Out, but where they go after that, I'm not sure. But I'm worried about guys like Hangman, Pac, those guys that started were the main focus of the AEW roster. Not so much anymore.
You know what? We'll see.
Not so much anymore. Punk and Bryan and Omega, those guys are going to be the main focus right there, and then Malachi Black rather, and then Rusev is a big name over there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you got the new show, that's out now, but that's an extra hour of airtime.
I don't even know, and that's great. It's great to have that extra hour for airtime to get people on TV. What I'm worried about that show is that after a couple of weeks it might become like another main event where it just becomes irrelevant.
I hope not.
But the wrestling will still be good though.
Yeah, of course. I think in time we'll see. And we just want, especially as wrestling fans, we want guys like Adam Cole, guys like Pac, guys like Hangman Page to like be able to be in the limelight while they're in their prime. You know what I mean? Where like by the time, and far be it from me to say that AJ Styles is not in a prime, but like by the time AJ Styles made his way to WWE, like obviously he's made a name for himself. He didn't need WWE. WWE obviously needed AJ, but like at the same time, like AJ Styles was not like prime AJ Styles in my opinion. He put on great matches, but like WWE has this talent. Like let's use them and highlight them and let them be the faces of this company while they can be, you know?
For sure. So for those of you guys that are watching, make sure you do a couple of things for us. Make sure you like, make sure you comment so we can talk to you guys about wrestling and find out your thoughts of what you guys think about tonight's show and any other show that we do. Make sure you share this with your friends, share it on social media, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys are subscribed for all the future podcast and aftermath shows brought to you by the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast, where it is listed right there and right over there somewhere above Joe's head. Anyhow, soon to be calling ourselves the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast. That is happening soon. So we will keep you guys in the loop on that. So make sure you guys do that stuff. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And we got one more match to talk about. All right, so we got the NXT Championship. This is no surprise at all. We've seen Karrion Kross on the main roster for Raw. His entrances on Raw kind of like flat compared, not that it's flat, but compared to his NXT entrance, you could tell the difference that NXT does a better job producing Karrion Kross's entrances, especially with Scarlett there, as opposed to on WWE Raw. I'm hoping that and the fans were chanting Karrion Kross when he was coming out. We want Scarlett, and I don't blame them. Scarlett made that entrance extra special, and it was a great package between the two of them. I'm hoping that maybe they bring Scarlett with Karrion Kross on Raw eventually. I'm hoping that Backstage heard those chants. Obviously, they did because they drowned that out really fast. They shut down the mics.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we get a solid 15-minute match between the two of them. Great back and forth. I think this is the longest match that I've seen Karrion Kross in. His matches are typically 5 to 10 minutes long, unless it's like a match against Finn Balor. So it went about the average. But like right away, Karrion Kross was going for the win, and Samoa Joe was rolled out to the outside, knocked out. So Karrion Kross hit Samoa Joe in his first 2 minutes, his finisher within like the first minute, and Joe was knocked out. The match continues. Karrion Kross taking control of the match the entire for pretty much the entire time, and then we see a comeback by Samoa Joe. They trade submissions with Karrion Kross with the straight jacket, and Samoa Joe gets out, and then Samoa Joe gets Karrion Kross's back. And it just went back and forth the last half of the match. I'd say the last 5 minutes or so. Great match, and then finally Samoa Joe catches Karrion Kross off of the top rope, the Muscle Buster, gets the 1, 2, 3. Samoa Joe is your new NXT champion. No surprise here. Karrion Kross is more than likely done on the NXT roster now and full time on the Raw roster to see where they go with. Actually, you know what? Now that SummerSlam is over and they can build to the next pay-per-views, now would be the good time to, start getting Karrion Kross, pushed towards future main events and stuff. But Joe, what did you think of this match tonight?
I kind of said it before. The word that best describes this match to me, a masterclass in submission centered wrestling, and obviously, and even like the fact that it didn't end in a submission and it ended in iconic, that Muscle Buster. as soon as he hit it, I'm like, that's it, you know. And I want to say, I mean, I'm not an expert in it, right? But I want to know the data of like people kicking out of that. I think it's up there, right? Like I know like this, like Dudley Boy's 3D, I think is one of those like finishers that almost no one's ever kicked out of, right? And I'm pretty sure Samoa Joe Muscle Buster's up there too.
I absolutely agree. There's not too many people that I've seen kick out of the Muscle Buster at all. In fact, it's almost the equivalent of Kenny Omega on AEW. Nobody kicks out of his, I guess, his, I think the name of it, his finishing move.
The one winged angel.
One winged angel. Thank you. Nobody kicks out of that. I haven't seen anybody kick out of that yet. Right. It may have happened once, but it rarely ever happens.
Right.
But yeah, so no, you bring up a good point. That's one of those moves that's kind of protected.
But and someone like Samoa Joe, I've always been a big fan of Samoa Joe, even back in Impact and TNA and whatnot, and like even Ring of Honor, right? And just like the matches that he put on with CM Punk over there, like this guy, you know, like he might, you know, he's a bigger guy, but he moves quick. He tells such a good story in the ring, you know. Like for instance, for in tonight's match, like freaking heck, man, like the from submission to submission, like it, like the pacing of it. In other matches, there's a lot of long rest holds and it gets boring, right? But like these holds were like part of the story, and like just seeing it through Samoa Joe, who, you know, it's his first real match back in a very long time. Am I right?
It looks great. Yeah, a year and a half.
Right. And for him to just kind of step in the ring with Karrion Kross, whom, again, is, if I remember correctly, was undefeated up until tonight. Am I correct or no?
This is correct.
Okay.
On the NXT brand, yes.
On NXT, I'm sorry. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So what am I forgetting? The last couple of weeks of Raw, right? What the heck is going on there?
Horrible.
I don't understand that, right? And
Jeff Hardy, give me a break.
But I don't know. But in any case, like with tonight, Samoa Joe mixing it up with Karrion Kross, that dude cannot have a bad match either on NXT, apparently. You know what I mean? Like his match with Finn Balor a couple weeks ago, great way. It was awesome. That was a pay-per-view quality match on national television. You know, and it was, and like for tonight, hats off to Joe for picking up the win, 3-time NXT champion. I think the only 3 times.
NXT made sure to make you aware that they when he won his title. Yep, the only 3-time champion.
Yeah, well done. I mean, he still has it. He
looks
not going
great.
anywhere anytime soon. Hopefully.
WWE as a whole on the main roster, they misbooked. They dropped the ball with Samoa Joe big time. Like he should have been the one to beat Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah,
for sure. Samoa Joe is hot going into that, and it would have been pretty believable for Samoa Joe to beat Lesnar. And then after that, that kind of took the wind out of Samoa Joe's sails going forward. Great match, but Brock Lesnar had no business walking out with the title that night. And I guess you could say Braun Strowman got the same disservice too when those two fought. But anyway, moving on. Samoa Joe looked really good tonight. I didn't notice any ring rust. He had to have obviously been training in the PC Center for quite some time now to get back into ring shape. And he looks great. Where they go from here, what his next challenger is, I honestly have no answers at the moment. I'm not an insider. I don't have all the inside scoops or anything. You know, I can only suspect it based on what they give us on TV. I couldn't tell you. I would think maybe Pete Dunne could be possible. I think we could see Pete Dunne quite possibly.
Finn Balor maybe. Oh no, Finn Balor's on SmackDown now.
He's on SmackDown. Johnny Gargano. I could definitely see that. NXT, another solid show next time, but my concern is where it's going to go from here. I'm very concerned about the next couple months. I'm not gonna lie. I guess we have to take it week by week. So Samoa Joe for now is your new NXT champion. He's not going anywhere, which is good. I guess probably this week we'll hear and know more about Adam Cole as time goes on. I like to follow guys like Sean Ross Sapp and John Alba. If you guys want the most accurate information, I follow those two guys. I like to stay away from Ringside News. News with a Z, because I consider that fake news. Ringside News does never post anything accurate. They jumped the gun well over a month ago saying that CM Punk signed when there was no indications of that anywhere at the time. So Ringside News kind of got lucky with that one. But other than that, I don't believe anything that they say. I'm more of a fan of WrestleZone.com and tpww.net, where you see Mike Johnson on there. So next time we talked about Walter tonight. Walter was
what did he go from here?
Yeah, you know what? I did not
maybe
think of
Samoa
Walter.
Joe. There you go.
That would be fantastic. Listen, this is why we need our people that are watching commenting, just to cover up any loose ends, and that's a loose end I definitely missed for sure. Definitely Walter. But listen, that's if he stays on U.S. soil. Let's because that's if he stays on U.S. soil. Then I can very much see that happening.
Let's hope, because this is the type of star that the WWE needs to reach out to people who are like me, who are more like, obviously I'm a lifelong fan, but more recently I've just been casually watching what's on TV. But if I saw highlights of a guy like Walter, this guy, if pushed correctly, could be must-see TV. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. If he's pushed correctly, he can be an attraction. You don't have to have him on your show every week.
No, you do not.
You could have him on every other week. Have him on every pay-per-view or every other, but have him on every pay-per-view, maybe once or twice in between. Because WWE always has the problem with overexposure. That's been their biggest problem for years. That's why, as great as Charlotte Reigns is, she needs to go away for a while. Jeff Hardy is another great name, great talent, but overexposure. It's a problem. Yeah, the ladies are pissed. No Tommy. Maybe Holly. Maybe Holly's not watching. I don't know. Holly, if you are, give us a shout out. Holly was not on last night, but was on the night before. So maybe the ladies are pissed. No Tommy. But that's all good. Tommy will be back for episode 72, which we'll have more details on later this week. I don't know if I'll be on 72 or not. I will be in Cleveland, Ohio this weekend for Cleveland Indians versus Boston Red Sox at Progressive Field, or whatever they call it stadium now. So let me get to a game in Cleveland before they change their names to the Guardians. Give me a break. WWE has to step up the period. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They can say all they want that AEW is in competition, but they're going to take away that fan base. You're dead on. You're dead on.
Yeah.
As long as AEW is wise with their money and are more profitable, and get these sales in, these merch sales in, and what have you, because they're spending a lot of money on these guys right now. That's the only thing I'm worried about, is that they're putting themselves more in the red. So I'm thinking that Tony Khan is signing all these guys with an expected payoff, with ratings and TV deals and what have you. So that's the only thing I worry about, is the financial aspect of that. What do you think, Joe?
I mean, I'm not a finance guy. But it is concerning.
Supposedly, somebody's saying they're in the people say they're in the red, and you looked at how full that United Center was. They have fans back. Money's coming in. They're not filling up half of an arena like WCW is, barely half an arena. I was there at one of the final Nitros at Nassau Coliseum, and quite possibly was sad. This is quite the opposite. AEW is filling up the arenas for the most part.
That's the other thing too, right? And obviously this is more of an investment and more time and whatnot. But you can start doing more live shows. And if you have all this roster, like you have your TV, you have your TV, I guess storylines that you're going to tell, but you also have wrestlers who might do well with like live shows, right? I mean, I don't know if that's a business model. I'm just saying, like, if you have these people who, if there's not enough time to air them, like, then give them space and time and start making some money with merch and stuff, right? I mean, that's where you're going to get your money, I guess, right? I don't know. I'm not a finance guy at all, but better question is, what better time to be a wrestling fan? I know I said that last night, but like, regardless of, WWE, AEW, which one's better, whatever, not really is a question, but more so like, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I remember a couple of years ago where Impact was like in question and Lucha Underground, I don't know, I guess stopped filming and like was like, well, what's going on, right? But like now it's kind of like pretty cool,
There's a lot of options, especially with AEW opening the Forbidden Door with Impact. There's a lot of fantasy matches with NWA.
Yep.
New Japan. I'm still waiting for Nick Aldis to walk through the Forbidden Door and show up on AEW with his NWA title. I want to see a fantasy match there.
That'd be awesome.
I'm waiting for that. Yeah, Arthur Ashe Stadium with speculation that Bryan Daniels signed. Yeah, no, that's sold out. I mean, I can get a ticket, but it'll be on StubHub, I'm sure. It'll be high priced. I think they kind of wanted to start small. Well, Arthur Ashe actually is the same seating capacity as MSG or similar. So they easily could have sold out MSG, I think. Yeah. So
did you get tickets for MSG?
What show are we talking about?
Oh, you're not talking about
SmackDown. No. I didn't. Okay. So I didn't listen. I got AEW Dynamite. Then I'm going to September 1st. I'm going to Rampage September 3rd, and then All Out September 5th. On top of that, I'm gonna try to catch a Cubs or Milwaukee Brewers game. Milwaukee's only an hour and a half away, and try to catch up with my co-host Tommy. He lives about 2 hours away in Indiana, so very easy drives. We have 3 off days in between. So we have that Thursday, Saturday, Monday. Maybe there'll be an indie show in between. It's going to be quite interesting week. So there's just a lot of events going on. Not to mention I got Cleveland coming up this weekend, and I figured let me just kind of lay off a little bit on the September shows and what have you. So I'm gonna be doing a lot as it is. So let me see what we got here. Crash 2 sites, most shirts ever sold in 24-hour period. Picture of that merchandise. Yeah, that's crazy. I'll tell you, one of the first things I do when I get in Chicago, grab a bite to eat. We're gonna grab our go to the hotel, and then from there go to Pro Wrestling Tees store right away. Before even Dynamite, and check that out. They have a Pro Wrestling Tees store in Chicago. Referring to WWE, I'm not too sure that GAD and MSG show that wasn't pushing tickets while AEW sold out Ash Stadium. So again, AEW is making a lot of moves and getting a lot of guys, and they're selling tickets as a result. A lot of key guys too. And again, the needle you're going to see, and I believe the ratings, the needle is going to move in AEW's favor, I believe, in the month of September for sure, especially with Daniel Bryan, possibly Adam Cole. I mean, this is going to be, like you said, it's a very, very interesting time to be a wrestling fan. Like, even though we had AEW Friday night, we had CM Punk come out, and SummerSlam, not a great event by any means.
It had its moments.
Couple good moments for sure. Couple good moments. Then tonight with
Viking Brock
NXT
coming back, you know.
Viking, we got Viking Brock back, so he'll probably be a Viking Raider and start a new stable tomorrow. But yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff. Going. So that pretty much wraps up our show. This wraps up our long weekend, our third night in a row being on with you guys and just hanging out. Last night was late night. Friday night we hopped on immediately. It was not planned Friday. We were definitely going to do it if CM Punk was to come out, and sure enough he did, and we had that show, and Necktie SummerSlam did. It was quite frustrating to me at times, but anyhow, that wraps up a weekend. Like I said, we'll give you guys information about episode 72. Should we do that episode next week? I will personally be back for All Out Weekend live from Chicago. I will be back with Tommy, and if Joe wants to hop on, or Pete, whoever, we figure that out. But that'd be another big weekend for us. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Necktie, for being with us this weekend and inputting into our show. We really appreciate you. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. And Joe, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And we will see you guys all within a week or so. All right. Catch you guys later.